Okay, so next up are rock stars in their own right. 2600 HZ, these guys have been around, they've been on the stage before. Kind of, I don't want to say old school necessarily, but
Sure.
but old and new at the same time. These guys are kicking ass in the telecom space, and they're going to show us something very new tonight that shouldn't even be shown.
Well, we're
You guys are seeing something first.
So the only new part is the first part, but it's kind of cool. We're 2600 Hertz. We're a cloud communications platform. My name's Aaron, product manager there. Okay, so let's go to the first slide. Roll your own telco. It's San Francisco, so roll your own. Okay, so why would you roll your own telco? Lots of organizations from the SMB all the way up to large enterprises need to communicate with their customers and with each other. They do that primarily over phone calls, text messages, and more these days video chats. But your options are still kind of fairly limited. There's a lot of vendors out there, but they're hard to differentiate. If you want to build your own, Twilio or Layer will do a nice job of getting you off the ground, but they don't support endpoints or faxing or any of that really boring, ugly stuff that companies still need. Skype and Google Hangouts aren't really enterprise grade, so you might get a big connection drops. And then finally, the traditional players where as long as you have a big wallet, you can get your own telco services and network services out there and deployed. So there's really very few options out there. The thing that we bring to the table is not just the ability to roll your own telco, but we give you the ability to do that from servers, open source servers that are just installed with CentOS. And so you don't have to pay any money, you just have some very cheap servers, and you can now roll your own telco. So you can bring your own infrastructure, it's highly secure and scalable, and you can save a lot of money over traditional providers by rolling your own telco. So we're going to get into how to do this. I was going to actually show a live demo on stage, but things didn't work out, so now we have slides. So basically the way you roll your own telco with us is, these are your servers up here, and you can just come in and add them and install our platform, and then you have all your servers just sitting there. Not just sitting there, but they're being monitored. I don't know if everybody knows about things like Sensu and how they do checks, but basically you'll get alerts on your servers if anything's wrong. You can see your entire inventory, your server health up here. It's really comprehensive. You'll also get again, on alerts so that you can manage everything that's going on with your server. Finally, you can perform many common tasks up here. So this is sort of like an Amazon EC3 management console that you're looking at here, but this is purely for our software. And so it allows you to discover, enable, disable, restart, upgrade, downgrade, all of the packages for our platform really seamlessly. And then finally, our last slide, you can even load your own scripts on there if what we have isn't enough for you. So that's all pretty cool, but it doesn't really explain why you would use us. And perfect, I've got 2 minutes left. So it doesn't really explain why you'd use us. So we're back to what does it mean to roll your own telco platform. So I'm actually going to have James pop over into our live console. Can you blow it up a little bit, James?
I think this is as much as...
Anyway, this is our management console for all your PBX services. So if you've ever set up an office phone system, we make it really simple. You can come in here, you can buy numbers, you can set up main number for services for your company. So that's things like, go to the main number services tab really quick. That's things like auto receptionist. So when you get a call coming into your small business, whether it's small business or large business, you can choose how to handle that. Go to main number services on the left. And show them the virtual receptionist. So we've got a way that makes it really easy for you to come in here, choose how your calls are handled, where they go. We support things like hard points like DA links and polycoms. We support WebRTC phones. We have open APIs and SDKs. So you basically build anything with this service you want, but we've appified most of the common use cases, especially for SMB and mid-level enterprise. So that you no longer have to be a telecom expert to come in here and set up your telecom services. Very easy to do. If you don't want to roll your own infrastructure, you don't have to. We have a hosted cloud in the US. So if you like Twilio, but you want to support more Office scenarios, or similarly, if you hate your Office PBX and want something a little more flexible, something that supports something like webhooks, or being able to deal with call flows in a software layer, we basically sit on both sides of the fence. That's why our partners love us, and we can, if you're a telco guy at all, come talk to me, because we can help you get your deployment out there much cheaper, much more efficiently than the other guys.
Right on, Aaron. Thank you. Just to hinge on your last comment, who are the other guys?
Well, it's funny because one of them's right next door. Metaswitch is a good example of a competitor of ours. They make Class 4, Class 5 switches that go in major data centers and run a lot of infrastructure for major companies. Another example is BroadSoft or Avaya. Again, big names. We bring a more open source approach to it. We're an open source company, by the way, and we've been around for 5 years and have never taken funding. So we basically have done this from scratch, and we're competing against really big multi-billion international companies.
Do you guys compete with Twilio?
We do a little bit if you have APIs, but we don't see ourselves so much as competing with Twilio as if you get to a point where you want to run your infrastructure more your own way, then you should come to us. Twilio is great if you just want to get started really easily with telephony and software. And then what happens is once you get bigger, you start realizing, well, I want to own my own carrier relationship because I can save a lot of money there. Or I want to do things outside of the box. Twilio's got some great stuff on their platform. I don't want to knock it at all, but there's stuff, especially if you're supporting legacy equipment, hard phones. We have a mobile integration with Sprint that is very tight. So basically all these other use cases that you run into anytime you're trying to support the customer in the enterprise for a long enough period of time, they eventually come ask for it. We're the guys who can help you with all that.
Good answer. Tomas.
Thanks. What do you have, like, coverage towards Europe, or I have an office over there, so how's that work internationally?
Sure. So the US is where we have all the automation and the hosted cloud set up. If you want to deploy in another country, we have quite a few customers in other countries, and the way we do it is this roll your own infra model, where as long as you have the carrier relationships in the country and you have the infrastructure, we bring the software and the experience at setting it up and getting it deployed. The entire platform is highly customizable. Even with the software, you have a lot of branding options. And then the more developer-focused enterprises that we work with that want to do their own things will oftentimes toss a lot of the UI and just build their own thing. The underlying architecture, again, it's very scalable, distributed, perfect for getting something up, and because it's an open architecture, you can really build whatever you want. Any other questions?
I'm back here, guys. Just raise your hand high. Who here is in telco?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Used to be.
Well, I really appreciate you guys listening to the...
So this is just a software-based system in the cloud?
Yes, it's a Class 4, Class 5 hybrid soft switch.
Okay. You don't have to buy anything and deploy it on-prem or anything like that?
No, we're open source and you don't have to buy any equipment. We do charge, we're like the Red Hat model. If you have enterprise tools, auto provisioner for desk phones, for instance, or just stuff that it saves you money if you're a bigger business, and we know you're a bigger business because that's the only reason you would use it. That's the stuff we charge for.
Okay, and so where do you play market-wise?
In the US, we do a lot of hosted resellers in the channel.
No, I mean like mid-market, company size or target.
For the end users, yeah. So we don't go direct, but most of the use cases for us have been all in the SMB to mid-size.
Okay.
We're starting to get some larger deployments, but then you tend to see a lot more bringing in multiple vendors, doing things like call center, doing other things in that space, and we specialize more towards really specifically the SMB use case for now. The architecture can support a lot more, but that's what the UI is for.
Thank you.
20 seconds to go.
Perfect, I'm done early.
You did it. Aaron, thank you, sir. James, thank you. Good to see you. You bet.